Welcome to this author reading of the book Find the Beauty, a trilogy of fairy tales for the modern age. Today we'll be reading the third book in the trilogy, the Skondermaisels. Once upon a time that is much like today, in a land that is much like yours, there was a young girl named Matilda who almost forgot how to breathe. This is her story. Matilda sat on the corner of her bright yellow bedspread, a tear tugging at the corner of her eye. "Tilly, do you want to play a game of hide the button?" Faya asked, hoping to cheer her up, but the girl sat unmoved, except for a slight shaking of her head. "Well then, whatever is wrong? You know I'm a great listener. You know you can tell me anything." "No, I can't." Tilly, as most called her, barely glanced in Faya's direction. Faya moved from her perch on the windowsill. Tears started to run down Tilly's face. Then the dam burst. "Mummy and Daddy told me today that Santa Claus doesn't exist and that he is just make-believe for little kids to make them behave, and that I'm too grown up now to believe in fairy tales like that." Faya jumped back in shock, and then Tilly's words began to spill out faster and faster. "They say that it's time I stop believing in things that aren't real, and that other people will make fun of me for seeing things they can't see, and that it's all been in my head." She took a deep, shuddering inhale, then calmly said, "So I can't talk to you anymore, because you're not real." Faya flittered back and forth, trying to stomp down the anger before speaking what she hoped were sensible words. "Tilly, do you hear me?" "Yes, but it's only in my head." Faya fluttered past Tilly's ear. "Tilly, did you feel that?" "Yes, but it's only wind from the window." Faya buzzed over to the mirror, breathed a strong hot breath on it, then drew a tiny happy face in the fogged glass. This usually brought on a fit of giggles from the girl. "Tilly, do you see this?" Matilda scrunched up her face as if trying not to answer, then said, "Yes, but our eyes play tricks on us. That's what Mummy said." Faya was tempted to fly right into Mummy's bedroom and tip over her perfume bottle, but she tried to remain calm and think of how to reason with the girl. Tilly had always been an exceptional child, one of only a few that could always see her, and Faya didn't want Tilly's eyes to close, now of all times. Faya landed on the bright yellow bedspread and paced back and forth while thinking. Of course she didn't leave any footprints. She was much too dainty for that. Faya was heartbroken when the girl looked right past her as if she wasn't even there. Faya decided she would do it. It was strictly forbidden to reveal their language to humans, but these were desperate times, so she marched over and put her tiny hand on Tilly's arms. "Do you know what we call a girl like you?" Tilly gave a slight shrug but looked away. "A Skondermaisel," Faya declared. Tilly stifled a giggle, then whispered, "Bless you," as if Faya had merely sneezed. Faya lowered her voice to convey more authority. "Think, Tilly, have you ever heard that word before?" "Skondermaisel?" Close enough, Faya thought. She was just happy to have the girl engaged. "Yes, Tilly, have you ever heard that word before? Skondermaisel. Do you know what it means?" Tilly scrunched her forehead. "No." "It means one with eyes to see the beauty and ears to hear the truth. That's you." Encouraged when Tilly finally turned towards her, Faya continued, "So I've taught you a new word, one you've never heard before, and then I had to tell you what it means. So that means you didn't make it up. You really heard me." "So that means you're not just a filament of my imagination?" "That's right, Tilly, and Skondermaisels like you are so important. Why don't you get under your covers and I'll tell you a story." Tilly complied, and Fairy fluttered to her favorite perch on the finial of the nightstand. "Once upon a time, every human was just like you. Not only could they see the beauty that was all around, they could talk to plants and animals and all of the nature spirits like me. The world was full of love for one another. The trees willingly grew shade where it was hot, and the water nymphs recycled water to just where it was needed for rain. Everyone lived in harmony." that sounds so nice, Tilly yawned. What happened? Slowly, people forgot that they were all connected. Some people decided they were better than others. Disagreements erupted. They stopped going outside and they became disconnected. They forgot how to breathe right and started getting dis-ease. Faya was working herself into a flitter, so she drew a deep breath. She tucked her wings behind her and sadly said, "And then they couldn't see us anymore." "Mummy and Daddy can't see you." "That's right, Tilly. Sometimes when people are young, they can see us, but by the time they are all grown up, they forget they ever saw us. So mums and dads like yours tell their children to stop looking for us." Faya sat down with her wings slumped over her shoulders and looked deep into Tilly's eyes. "And if no one can see us anymore, then we just disappear." Tilly's eyes welled with tears. She whispered, "I won't ever forget. Please don't let me forget." And Faya never did. That night began Faya's tutelage on the wonder of the fairy realms. Tilly learned how important the nature spirits are in keeping things in balance, and how important balance is in all things. Faya even broke the rules again and told Tilly how the Fae folk could pop in and out of different realms. And Tilly never forgot. Tilly only told people that could see the wee folk when she could tell that they had eyes to see and ears to hear, so mostly she kept quiet. She spent as much time outdoors as she could and got to know all the folks of the Fae, and they all taught her how to breathe in life. Matilda did as Faya always advised, find the beauty in all things. Sometimes she had to really look for it in things others called ugly, but she always did. And when she did, she could feel the love envelop her, just as Faya always promised. Because Faya explained that beauty was the physical manifestation of love and was there for all to feel. Find the beauty, feel the love became Tilly's mantra. And when she had children, Matilda made sure and taught them all that Faya had taught her. And when she became a grandmother, she taught as many children as she could about the magic that was in the world. And Faya is still flying around the world looking for those rare Skondermaisels, the one with eyes to see the beauty and ears to hear the truth. So she will never disappear. The end. And here are some questions to think about. Has anyone ever made fun of you for your beliefs? Have you ever seen a nature spirit? What did it look like? If not, what do you imagine they would look like? What or who do you feel connected to? Do you believe in magic? Why? Why not? In which of these two places do you think you would find the most fairies? Which of these images makes you feel happier? Which city building do you think is the most beautiful? Which building do you think contains more love? Which of these two neighborhoods do you feel is more loving? What can you do to make wherever you live look more beautiful and feel more loving? How do these images make you feel? Is it hard to find the beauty here? What can you do to make your world more beautiful? Do you see any fairies here? Hooray! Thank you so much for listening to this reading from the book Find the Beauty, a trilogy of fairy tales. I hope you have a very good day.